was the first time we spoke at SpaceX.
SpaceX
the first time. When you were giving Elon that crazy AI chip.
Right. DGX Spark.
Yeah, that was a big moment.
That was a huge
That
moment.
felt crazy to be there. I was like watching these wizards of tech like exchange information and you're giving him this crazy device, you know? And then the other time was I was shooting arrows in my backyard and randomly get this call from Trump and he's hanging out with you.
President Trump called and I called you.
Yeah, it's just...
We were talking about you.
It's just
we were
weird
talking about you.
called.
He was talking about the UFC thing he was going to do in his front yard. No. And he pulls out, he's Jensen, look at this design. He's so proud of it. And I go, you're going to have a fight in the front lawn in the White House? He goes, yeah, you're going to come. This is going to be awesome. And he's showing me his design and how beautiful it is. And he goes, and somehow your name comes up. He goes, do you know Joe? And I said, yeah, I'm going to be on his podcast. Let's call him.
He's like a kid.
No, let's call him.
He's like a 79-year-old kid. Yeah, he's an odd guy. Just very different. You know, like what you'd expect from him. Very different than what people think of him. And also just very different as a president. A guy who just calls you or texts you out of the blue. Also, when he texts you, you have an Android, so it won't go through with you. But with my iPhone, he makes the text go big. Like,
is that right?
USA is respected again. All caps and it makes the text enlarge. It's kind of ridiculous.
Well, the one-on-one President Trump is very different. He surprised me. First of all, he's an incredibly good listener. Almost everything I've ever said to him, he's remembered.
Yeah, people they only want to look at negative stories about him or negative narratives about him. You know, you can catch anybody on a bad day. Like, there's a lot of things he does where I don't think he should do. Like, I don't think he should say to a reporter, quiet piggy. Like, that's pretty ridiculous. Also, objectively funny. I mean, it's unfortunate that it happened to her. I wouldn't want that to happen to her, but it was just ridiculous that the president does that. I wish he didn't do that. But other than that, like, he's an interesting guy. Like, he's a lot of different things wrapped up into one person, you know?
You know, part of his charm, part of his genius is just he says what's on his mind.
Yes,
and
which is like an anti-politician in a lot of ways.
Right. So you know what's on his mind is really what's on his mind.
Which
and he's
I think
telling
people
you what
prefer.
I do
Some
too.
people. Some people would rather be lied to.
Yeah, but I like the fact that he's telling you what's on his mind. Almost every time he explains something, he says something, he starts with you could tell his love for America, he wants to do for America, and everything that he thinks through is very practical and very common sense, and, you know, it's very logical. And I still remember the first time I met him, and so this was, I'd never met him before, and Secretary Lutnick called, and we met right at the beginning of the administration, and he told me what was important to President Trump, that United States manufactures onshore. And that was really important to him because it's important to national security. He wants to make sure that the important critical technology of our nation is built in the United States, and that we reindustrialize and get good at manufacturing again because it's important for jobs.
It just seems like common sense, right?
Incredible common sense. And that was like literally the first conversation I had with Secretary Lutnick. And he was talking about how that he started our conversation with Jensen, this is Secretary Lutnick, and I just want to let you know that you're a national treasure. Nvidia is a national treasure, and whenever you need access to the president, the administration, you call us. We're always going to be available to you. Literally, that was the first sentence.
That's pretty nice.
And it was completely true. Every single time I called, if I needed something, I want to get something off my chest, or some concern, they're always available. Incredible.
It's just unfortunate we live in such a politically polarized society that you can't recognize good common sense things if they're coming from a person that you object to. And that, I think, is what's going on. I think most people generally, as a country, you know, as a giant community, which we are, just only makes sense that we have manufacturing in America, especially critical technology like you're talking about. Like, it's kind of insane that we buy so much technology from other countries.
If the United States doesn't grow, we will have no prosperity. We can't invest in anything domestically or otherwise. We can't fix any of our problems. If we don't have energy growth, we can't have industrial growth. If we don't have industrial growth, we can't have job growth. It's as simple as that. And the fact that he came into office and the first thing that he said was drill, baby, drill. His point is we need energy growth. Without energy growth, we can have no industrial growth. And it saved the AI industry. I got to tell you flat out, if not for his pro-growth energy policy, not be able to build factories for AI, not be able to build chip factories, we surely won't be able to build supercomputer factories. None of that stuff would be possible. Without all of that, construction jobs would be challenged, right? Electrician jobs, all of these jobs that are now flourishing would be challenged. And so I think he's got it right. We need energy growth. We want to reindustrialize the United States. We need to be back in manufacturing. Every successful person doesn't need to have a PhD. Every successful person doesn't have to have gone to Stanford or MIT. And I think that sensibility is spot on.
Now, when we're talking about technology growth and energy growth, there's a lot of people that go, "Oh no, that's not what we need. We need to, simplify our lives and get back." But the real issue is that we're in the middle of a giant technology race, and whether people are aware of it or not, whether they like it or not, it's happening, and it's a really important race because whoever gets to whatever the event horizon of artificial intelligence is, whoever gets there first has massive advantages in a huge way.
Well, first, the part I will say that we are in a technology race, and we are always in a technology race. We've been in a technology race with somebody, right, since the Industrial Revolution, we've been in a technology
Since the
race.
Manhattan Project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even going back to the discovery of energy. The United Kingdom was where the Industrial Revolution was, if you will, invented. When they realized that they can turn steam and such into energy, into electricity. All of that was invented largely in Europe. And the United States capitalized on it. We were the ones that learned from it. We industrialized it. We diffused it faster than anybody in Europe. They were all stuck in discussions about policy and jobs and disruptions. Meanwhile, the United States was forming. We just took the technology and ran with it. I think we were always in a bit of a technology race. World War II was a technology race. Manhattan Project was a technology race. We've been in a technology race ever since during the Cold War. I think we're still in a technology race. It is probably the single most important race. It is the technology it gives you whether it's information superpowers or energy superpowers or military superpowers is all founded in technology. And so technology leadership is really important.
Well, the problem is if somebody else has superior technology, right?
Yeah.
That's the issue.
That's
and
right.
It seems like with the AI race, people are very nervous about it. Elon has famously said there was like 80% chance it's awesome, 20% chance we're in trouble. And people are worried about that 20%, rightly so. I mean, that, if you had 10 bullets in a revolver and, you took out 8 of them, you still have 20 in there and you spin it, you're not going to feel real comfortable when you pull that trigger. It's terrifying. When we're working towards this ultimate goal of AI, it's impossible to imagine that it wouldn't be of national security interest to get there first.
The question is what's there? That was the part.
What is there?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think anybody really knows.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
though. If I ask you,
Yeah.
you're the head of Nvidia. You don't know
Yeah.
what's there? Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be much more gradual than we think. It won't be a moment. It won't be as if somebody arrived and nobody else has. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be things that just get better and better and better and better, just like technology does.
So you are rosy about the future. You're very optimistic about what's going to happen with AI. Obviously, will you make the best AI chips in the world? Probably better be.
If history is a guide, we were always concerned about new technology. Humanity has always been concerned about new technology. There's always somebody who's thinking. There are always a lot of people who are quite concerned. We're quite concerned. And so if history is a guide, it is the case that all of this concern is channeled into making the technology safer. And so, for example, in the last several years, I would say AI technology has increased probably in the last 2 years alone, maybe 100x. Let's just give it a number, okay? It's like a car 2 years ago was 100 times slower. So AI is 100 times more capable today. Now, how did we channel that technology? How do we channel all of that power? We directed it to causing the AI to be able to think, meaning that it can take a problem that we give it, break it down step by step. It does research before it answers, and so it grounds it on truth. It'll reflect on that answer, ask itself, is this the best, answer that I can give you? Am I certain about this answer? Highly confident about the answer? You'll go back and do more research. It might actually even use a tool because that tool provides a better solution than it could hallucinate itself. As a result, we took all of that computing capability and we channeled it into having it produce a safer result, safer answer, a more truthful answer. Because as you know, one of the greatest criticisms of AI in the beginning was that it hallucinated. And so if you look at the reason why people use AI so much today is because the amount of hallucination has reduced. I use it I used it the whole trip over here. And so I think the capability, most people think about power and they think about, maybe it's an explosion power. But the technology power, most of it is channeled towards safety. Car today is more powerful, but it's safer to drive. A lot of that power goes towards better handling. I'd rather you have a 1,000 horsepower truck. I think 500 horsepower is pretty good. No, 1,000 better. I think 1,000 is better.
I don't know if it's better, but it's definitely faster.
Yeah, no, I think it's better. You can get out of trouble faster. I enjoyed my 599 more than my 612. I think it was better. And more horsepower is better. My 459 is better than my 430. More horsepower is better. I think more horsepower is better. I think it's better handling. It's better control. In the case of technology, it's also very similar in that way. And so if you look at what we're going to do with the next 1,000 times of performance in AI, a lot of it is going to be channeled towards more reflection, more research, thinking about the answer more deeply.
So when you're defining safety, you're defining it as accuracy.
Functionality.
Functionality.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does what you expect it to do. And then you take all the technology and the horsepower, you put guardrails on it, just like our cars. We've got a lot of technology in a car today. A lot of it goes towards, for example, ABS. ABS is great. And so traction control. That's fantastic. Without a computer in the car, how would you do any of that? And that little computer, the computers that you have doing your traction control, is more powerful than the computer that went to Apollo 11. And so you want that technology, channel it towards safety, channel it towards functionality. And so when people talk about power, the advancement of technology, oftentimes I feel what they're thinking and what we're actually doing is very different.
Well, what do you think they're thinking?
Well, they're thinking somehow that this AI is being powerful, and that their mind probably goes towards a sci-fi movie, the definition of power. And oftentimes the definition of power is military power or physical power. But in the case of technology power, when we translate all of those operations, it's towards more refined thinking, more reflection, more planning,